This is one of our big stories today. Former Minister in the Presidency, Dr. Essop Pahad, buried now at Westpark Cemetery in Johannesburg. Mourners reflected on his life and the contribution he made to the struggle against apartheid. President Cyril Ramaphosa has called Pahad a thinker and a strategist who served South Africa with pride. SABC News Political Editor Mzwandile Mbeje was there.
Just about everyone is speaking about someone who was really dedicated to serving this country, someone who dedicated his life from very early on in his life. He went to exile, he contributed, he was banned. So everything that you could go through if you are determined to free your people, that's what he went through. But other than that, you remember he formed part of the government, and then he was one of those people, the ministers in the presidency, who actually was leading communication, and you knew exactly what government wanted to do, what sort of messaging they were getting out there to people. So it's someone who was a great thinker, as the president has said. But also what is interesting about that great thinker is that when he left government in 2008, he went on to form to establish a magazine. And you know what it was called, Bongiwe? It was called The Thinker. That basically told you about the man. And when we spoke to a number of his comrades, a number of people who worked with him, they said he was very principled, he was clear. But besides all of that, he was very kind-hearted from those who spent time with him. Well, it's really a passage of time, and I guess this generation is aware that they did play a role, and they have handed over the baton. Then comes the next question: is what they did going to be replicated by those they've left to do the same?
And that's exactly part of the question. A lot of people really reflecting on their legacy, reflecting on this particular generation. And a lot of talk, Mzwai, about, you know, the state of the country right now is something that his generation and many others still continued to talk about.
Absolutely. In fact, we spoke to one of the people, veterans, Joel Nechitenze earlier, who said Pahad, Dr. Essop Pahad, was not particularly happy with the trajectory of the country. So he had a lot of concerns. He felt something needs to be done to get the country back to what it is supposed to be. But of course, they say he was not afraid to say that out loud to those who were responsible at the time. So they say if there was something he was not happy about, he would put a call through and call you and say, please correct here, so we are not happy about. So this is the big, big task for the generation that has taken over. The question is, are they up to the challenge? And of course, we cannot judge perhaps the upcoming generation on the standards or on the conditions which they faced as the previous generation. Every generation faces its own conditions. But at the core of everything, Bongiwe and Iman, is that if you have decided to serve the people of South Africa, it doesn't matter. You must serve them. You must make sure that their needs are catered for. It doesn't matter the conditions. Is that being fulfilled? That is the question you and I keep asking.